Welcome in. It is day 88 and you're speaking with the Meeples Champion. And we are on October 6th and we are going to be going over another Halloween game. Now this is one of my strongest themed Halloween games. However, I do not have the box. The reason being is that when I first got into gaming again, I always reference that when I got into gaming again, it was because of Catan and Ticket to Ride, which isn't wrong. That's what kind of opened up the floodgates to my loads of games I really started buying. But at least a year, maybe even 2 years before I played Catan, there was another game I got into. I just didn't open up the floodgates to all other games. I was only buying this one game, and I got a load of it, and eventually invested in a case to put everything in because I had about 8 different games worth of it. That game was Zombies, which this is packed with. Zombies is a game where you place down a center spot of the board and you have a little character that represents you, and you literally are exploring. You are moving to a tile. When it comes out, you flip over a new tile, you put it down, you have to shift it to make sure it fits to the spot. You fill it with what's requested. So there might be bullets, there might be health, there might be zombies. Based on the design, you have to fight the zombies, and then when you go to certain spots, you'll be able to collect all the items that are there, and they get added to you. And you have the opportunity to be adding cards to your deck. And the cards are going to come out in a way where you're going to be able to, while you're fighting the zombies, get an increase in maybe you got a sword, or you've got a machete, or you've got a gun, or you've got some kind of a vehicle to move faster. And you go, then somebody else goes, and you're all playing around doing this. Now, during the game, you're going to be slowly expanding the board out. And in the original Zombies, the idea was you were trying to get to a helipad. So eventually, somebody would have to pull out a card for their turn and go for the helipad. Now, you might say, well, that's stupid because whoever randomly pulls the helipad wins. But that's not how it works. Because the way this is set up is, you don't have to go to a new location in order to pull out a new card. You have to put a card down every turn. What you don't have to do is leave your current spot or go to the new spot. So the helipad is designed to be shuffled in at a lower place in the deck, and all of your stuff that you're doing on the board, well, your board's expanding a lot. There might be 30 or 40 cards out before the helipad gets pulled, and the odds of you being at the edge of the board is pretty low. And when that helipad gets pulled, yes, you're going to want to put it as close to you as you can, but the paths may not be straightforward. A lot of these end up being a dead end, or it's a curve, and all of a sudden you have a bunch of tiles touching each other, but you might find that it's a bunch of dead end streets, and that you end up having the helipad put in a place where you're like, wow, I don't even know how to get there right now. Like, we've only got like one path and everybody's on the wrong area. And it becomes a race to the helipad. And once you get to the helipad and you end your turn, end of game. So why don't we jump in, talk about our 7 categories, and see where this game ranks for us. Now, we're going to start with the category of art. And I want to mention right off the bat, I have not unfortunately played this game in many years. Because I played this game before having played the others, during that 2-year run, I played this game hundreds of times. After I started finding the other games, I would still pull it out for a Halloween time of year. But eventually, it just got to that point where I was kind of burnt out on this game. And I had so many new options that it just got tossed to the side and forgotten about. So this is not fresh in my mind, and it is not something that I'm going to be able to remember every piece to. With that being said, let's try this out. When it comes to the box, which I am going to try to get the original box cover and put it here, it sells the theme, but it doesn't sell me necessarily on the box itself. The game sold me with that box before I was a gamer. As a person who was just fresh out of college and hanging out with my friends and we wanted to do something, I was like, hey, here's this cool game of zombies. And it was at the local Newberry Comics, which is what we were hit up all the time. And so we tried it. But if you were to not have played this game and you were to show me that box today, I wouldn't want to go try the game because it would kind of come off as not that same level as what we have behind me, a certain expectation of box cover that sells you. Now, when you actually pull out the pieces, I think that the pieces are nice. Again, it's a darker theme, but it's nice. So I have to kind of judge this, trying to figure out where's that median, because I think that the inside the box art is good. I think that the outside of the box art is not good. And so there's the question of, well, how do you make the decision when you're kind of 50-50? Here's how I do it. On my scale, do I think the front of the box on a 1 to 5, with 5 being the best, do I think that the front of the box is a failure? It's not a failure, but it's like a 2. It does a good job for its theme, but beyond that, it does nothing for me. The inside of the box, it's nice. It definitely sells its theme. But is it the best art and the best inside? Do I open it up and get, gushing over this? No, it's like a 3. It's not bad. It's not good. It's right in that middle section. And when you add those together, you're getting right there about a 5 out of 10, and that is not a thumbs up for me. So I have to thumbs down the art. It's not horrible. And if you're into the darker art, I think you'll love it. Just be aware that the art is not going to be the best compared to most games today. I will give this credit. Its components hold up amazingly well. You're dealing with loads of minis, and then you're dealing with your cards that you use for your hand and the cards that you use for the board. And then you have your little cardboard pieces for your bullets and for your health. And there's so much to this. And again, I played this hundreds of times and I never, ever saw stuff break, wear, anything. And even if it had, amazingly, because of how many different things are out for this, they actually sell now in stores little packs of additional zombies and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, if you lose minis and stuff, you can go buy them. Or if you just want more, because the board doesn't limit you. You could technically have more than you have. I bought 8 games and I mixed all of it into here. So as a result, I'll never run out. I'll always have enough minis. But some of you might not, and you need them, and they're out there. So that's kind of cool. But overall components, I have to give a thumbs up. Well, it depends on how you're judging it. Now, this game is not going to be available everywhere. This is occasionally going to be found in a board game store. I feel like 1 out of 5. You're not going to find this in your Targets or your Best Buys, although I will say when it's around Halloween, maybe it will show up in Target. This is actually more of a find at a Newberry Comics or a comic book store, because they like to put out some themed stuff, and zombies tends to be a very powerful theme. So you can find it, but it is not wicked available like other stuff has been in the past. When it comes to its pricing, you're not looking at a lot. You're probably looking at about $30, maybe $35 or $40, but really $30 is your price range for the game. The thing is that as much as you think this is 8 games worth of material. So you're only going to get that original game. Is there some stuff there? Yes. But is it worth that $30 price? I don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's not. I like the game. Even with all the stuff I have today, it's still a game that I enjoy to go back to, as far as I know it doesn't have a comparable factor to these. I don't have that spreading out. I don't have the board for it anymore. The reason I really haven't played this, one of my biggest reasons is I want to get a real, true, expanding board game table so that a game like this that does keep building out in different directions has more opportunity. And of all the games I have that do that, this one expands beyond any of them, because I can play with all 8 games together, which means my board, the last time I played this, we played this at my parents' house in a giant family room and moved all the furniture, and we almost took up the entire floor. We had put down like 130 or 140 pieces, and this was just all over the place. Now, I can't get a table that big, but I can get a table big enough to allow us the opportunity. And that's the reason that I haven't really played it. That being said, in the original game, it's only going to go so big. And Is the price going to be too much compared to the game? Just not sure. I feel like I've got to give this a thumbs down because I just feel like the game you're getting, it's not quite enough. That's just my memory and my opinion. It's not difficult. This game's pretty easy to learn. You know, you've got your hand, you're trying to build up and make sure that you can get different items that are going to allow you to be stronger. You've got your movement on the board. You've got your destination. Now, you don't die if you die to a zombie, but what you do is you actually go all the way back to the beginning of the game, into the center again. And I believe you take a hit on health and on bullets. I don't think you lose cards or anything like that. But the reason that's an issue is because it means you could end up being very, very far away from the helipad when you need to get there. And it specifically can mess you up when you're trying to make your way and you die. And all of a sudden, everybody else is closer. Overall, though, it's not difficult. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Again, I played this hundreds of times. We played it all the time. We played it weekly. We played it multiple times in a week. We'd never play it multiple games in a row because it is a little bit of a long game, but we played it so much. So with a beginner or even a kid, I think kids can play this as well. Actually, definitely, because my sisters used to play with me and they were much younger back then. I think for them, this is definitely replayable because they're going to get to the board a lot and they're going to want to play it. I think for your experienced and your expert players, the issue is going to be, like myself, collections getting in the way. This game's going to lose out a lot of the time. It may still be a strong Halloween theme, so don't be afraid of it, but the replayability is going to suffer. So overall, I'm going to give it a thumbs down because I think for the people watching these videos, most of you, this is not going to be a replayable game. So there's a lot you can focus on. Do I want to focus on getting cards and you know, truly building up my what I have for a collection? Do I want to focus on my health or my bullets? Do I want to focus on killing zombies? Or do I want to focus on avoiding zombies? Am I trying to keep to the exterior or keep to the interior? There's a lot of options, and I don't feel like anything's necessarily right or wrong. Because of the fact it's randomly coming out and you don't know necessarily what's going to be here now or then, I think it's a game that it has a lot of keys to victory and they all are fine. So I'll give it a thumbs up. Now, there is a lot of different versions in this game. That being said, they do combine. So you don't have to look at it as, oh, well, I have Zombies 1 through 8, so there's 7 other games like it. You can look at it as there's 8 different versions, but you can get any one of them to play individually, or you can use them together. So it's kind of like expansions. So in that regard, I'm not going to use those to eliminate the unique factor. The expanding board may not be unique, but I do feel like the expanding board that this has, with its people on the board for movement, with its people on the board to fight, with its collecting of cards, with its collecting of its pieces, with its helipad destination, there's so many pieces to this that makes it unique. I don't feel like I've ever replicated what I found in this game. I found other things that have interested me more, and that's what I focused towards. But that doesn't mean that they've replaced this game. It just means that this particular style of game, I found things I like more than it. But its style, its game is still very unique to me. Thumbs up. So overall, what do I think of this game? I think it's good. I think for beginners and for kids, this is a great start game, you know, and it'll give you some theme for the month of October. It'll give you some Halloween. Like, this is the strongest Halloween theme you're going to get. You know, you get zombies, you get zombie clowns in one of their versions, you get zombie dogs in one of their versions. You've got all sorts of different styles of zombies that therefore come in at different power levels. And you've got so many different types of places. Do you want to go into town? Do you want to go into a graveyard? Are you going to the circus? Are you going to be going into more of like a business or city type aspect? There's so much to it. I really think that this game is something that for those younger and newer people, give it a try. For you that are more experienced, I think that it's a game that if you haven't tried it before, go give it a look. I don't recommend to go out and just buy everything for this, but definitely see if your game group can find a way to get to play this once. And if you guys like it, maybe you decide, hey, let's each buy our own version so we can play. And when we get together, if we want to play a bigger one, we can combine. And if you don't have to. Or maybe just one person getting it's enough. Whatever works for your group. At the end of the day, I think it's a good game, but it's up to you guys to get out there, see if it's something that you like as a game, and then see if it's something you want to have as your big October game, because I do think this is one that this year I'm going to really try to push it. Doing this channel has given me the opportunity to kind of revisit old games, and this is one that I all of a sudden find myself going, I really want to play again. It's been a long time. So it's probably going to be one of my big played games this month. And I think that that's just always fun. Well, it has been day 88. We have been speaking about zombies, and you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description where I'll be adding in an Amazon link in case you do want to pick this game up for yourself. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.